Record. All right. Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL fanatics here. Joining me for this live sort of interview actually is former Warriors player, and he also played for the West Tigers, Salford Red Devils, as well as Penrith and the Tigers as well. He's played for a few clubs, but he also represented our boys and played for the Warriors as well. He started off his career here at the Warriors. Is Elijah Taylor. Hello to you, Elijah Taylor, all the way there from the UK. How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for having me on. It's when you mention all those clubs, sounds like I've been a lot of places, but no, it's good here in the UK. We're in preseason at the moment. We play our first trial 2 weeks. Different style of football they play over here, a lot different compared to back home and what you're used to. But I'm enjoying it. I've learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to this. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and it's awesome to have you on because you're probably the first former Warrior player I've ever actually had on the channel. I've had Andy Raymond on the channel before, and he was my first big name sort of guest because obviously he's done a lot for the rugby league circle. But you are a former player in itself, and it's great to have you on. So I do appreciate you for coming on and giving your time and saying you'd be keen to come on. So I really appreciate it. But why don't we get into your career? Actually, your career. First things first. You played for a number of clubs, like I said there. Mentioned a couple of clubs that you played for. First things first. The start of your footy journey, actually, the start of your career. So where it all started. You were born on the 27th of February, 1990, and you're from Hawera. Is that how you say it? Apologies if I pronounced it wrong. Hawera. All right. Hawera in New Zealand. So you're from Hawera in New Zealand. How old were you when you started playing rugby league? What age did you start, taking it seriously, rugby league?
Yeah. So I was born in Hawera, but I grew up in a little town called Pater, which is about 20 km south of Hawera. Yep. That's where Isaac Luke's from. So I'm not from there. That's where Isaac Luke's. That's where Isaac Luke's from. Yeah. But I played. Yep. It's all rugby union down there. Right. Obviously, the rugby union's everything.
Yeah.
I didn't play rugby league until I was about 16 in a place called Moirua in the far north there. And I played against Bay College. I was playing for Karaai College. But my old man didn't like me playing league. He didn't like the game. He was a hardcore union.
Yeah.
The typical hardcore union kind of dad that only watched the All Blacks and only watched rugby union. So yeah, my whole junior career from like 7 all the way up to 15. That's until I played rugby league. I liked rugby union. I played it all the way up till I was about 18, 17. But when I was at St. Paul's in Auckland, St. Paul's College, I had to make a decision when I was 16 is to go play rugby union or go play for the Warriors. And I chose the Warriors. Yep. It was a lot more appealing, and I could see the pathway was a lot easier. And a lot of the players at St. Paul's were already at the Warriors, so the transition was pretty sweet. We could carpool after training to go to Mount Smart, so it kind of worked out good.
Yeah, that's awesome because also did you take up any other sports? You said you were there was a bit of interest about rugby union, but mainly you decided to play rugby league. Was there any other interest in any other sports? Did you play any other sports when you were growing up, or just rugby league?
We played tag. We played social tag on Friday night in Auckland and Pakuranga, but it was only social. It wasn't serious.
Yeah.
I like playing tag. I'd prefer tag over touch for sure. And we did waka ama growing up as well. Like we went to Karapiro for the nationals every January. Because my mum was hard out into waka ama, and it kind of rubbed off on us. And yeah, I was into that pretty full on, to be fair, until about 16. That's when I stopped.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so in 2007, you were selected for the New Zealand Māori under-18 side. What was that like? What was that feeling like when you were selected? How did you react when you got selected for the to represent the New Zealand Māori, especially?
I remember at the time I was filthy, bro. I was filthy because I didn't make the junior Kiwis at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, because I was playing Bartercard when I was that year, 2007. I was 17. I was playing Bartercard, and like I thought because I was playing at such a high level, I'd be able to make it into the junior Kiwis, bro. But nah, it wasn't the case. There was a lot of politics involved with that. But
Yeah.
I'm grateful I made that Māori's team because I met Jesse Bromwich. We had a gun team, bro. Nafi Siluini,
Yeah.
Cutter. Who else is there? Rusty Bristow, Jody Henry. Who else? McGrath Luluwai, Harmony Hunt, Dylan Smith. That's the older brother of Brandon.
Yep.
We had a gun team, man, and we had a good time too. We stayed in Nalawahia for 2 weeks, and we were only young fellas. And then we went to Wellington, played in Wellington. We played in Rotorua as well. So good time. It was a good camp. We were only young, but I got to meet Jesse and that way back
Yeah.
then, so it was
Well,
pretty cool.
yeah. So it must have been great just playing alongside those players. That they're currently playing the NRL level at the moment. They're really. There's been some good Kiwi talent over the come through and make the switch to the NRL and playing the NRL at a high level. So a lot of them obviously signed with Australian clubs. Like the Melbournes, the Roosters. They've all played in those clubs. What's your thoughts on the Kiwi talent? Just the Kiwi talent that you've played with and those players that you grew up watching. What are your thoughts on that?
Just raw talent, man. Like New
Yeah,
Zealand players are so skillful. Since I've come over here to England and I've seen the young players
yeah,
how they play here compared to the boys back home, there's a huge difference in just natural skill and natural instinct. Like
yep,
it's hard to explain of reading the game. Like when you're a young fella back in New Zealand, you can read the game good. But I've noticed over here, only a few players, young players, can read the game like how we learned back when we were young. So the amount of talent and just basic skills, catch and pass, that's not a hard thing for a Kiwi player or Kiwi young fella in New Zealand.
yeah,
Where over here, bro, you'd have to drill it so many times, catch and pass, catch and pass, catch and pass. Obviously, because rugby's not big here at all.
mm-hmm.
And they've all grown up in a football environment,
Yeah,
soccer environment. You give them a soccer ball, bro, they could play hacky all day. They could kick it all day, bro. The crazy skill they have with the ball. But since in New Zealand we grew up with a rugby ball, obviously,
yeah,
um, it's a lot different. But some of the skillful players I played with back in New Zealand that didn't make professional level, like there was some crazy talent up north in Kaitaia. Wow, like a lot of raw talent. Logan Harrison, Paul Thomas, Shane Vinek, like heaps of the lads. But there just wasn't that pathway up north, which is
yeah,
disappointing. Um, you had to move to Auckland, especially for league, if you
mm,
wanted to find a pathway pretty quick, or you had to go sign over for Penrith or Melbourne when you were young. So it's probably the only thing where a lot of talent gets lost because there's not that pathway, especially in the rural areas, in the small town areas. And yeah, as I said before, there's so much talent up north. I remember when I was living up there as well.
yeah. And talking about the pathways, pathways is a big thing in Australia. All those Australian clubs, and obviously with New Zealand, we're competing with the likes of rugby union. Well, what's your thoughts here, like on because obviously with the rugby union so popular in New Zealand, but now I believe it's sort of getting to the point where rugby league starting to get more interest over the last couple of years. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously it comes down to financial at the end of the day, like
Yeah,
logistics. Say if you grew up in Sydney, like Sydney City, some suburb, like and you're a young kid, you've got West Tigers 20 minutes drive to training, or you got Penrith 20 minutes drive to training, or if you don't make it there, you can drive to Roosters training, or you can, nothing's too far away, like Manly, da 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 da. But like if you lived up north, you'd have to drive like 4 hours just to get to Auckland for training. And like cost of living, petrol price. You can't do that. Where if there was financially, if there was a place in Whangarei where you could train every day, a young Northland kid, it would be a lot easier like that. But obviously, it just comes down to money and financially, the money in league back in New Zealand. I don't know if it's changed, but it's always going to be behind rugby union because obviously rugby union's got all the cash in terms of World Cups, in terms of participation in international sport. But that's always going to be the problem unless someone makes an academy up there or in the rural places where the kids, they can't afford to drive 4 hours just to go to Auckland to Mount Smart to train and then turn around, go back home, go to school. Just things like that. It's always financial at the end of the day.
Yeah, and obviously over the years, there's always been a thing where a lot of the Kiwis, especially the Kiwi player, younger Kiwis, they all decide, they want to move over to, Australia, and the Warriors, tend to struggle to, get those players through their system. But well, what are your thoughts on that? Because there's a lot of people that say that the Warriors, tend to struggle to develop, get those players. Yeah, what do you think of that? Like,
I don't know what the pathway is now, but when I was there, like we had a pretty good pathway. So you went development, 20s, and you went reserves, and then you went full time, first grade. So that was the ladder, like you climb. And with the under 20s comp, it was 2008. We curtain raised first grade every game. I just don't know if that pathway is still there at the moment. I haven't checked.
It's well, this year they're going to be having like I think they're going to have a Jersey Flag Cup team and an SG Ball Cup team. So it's like an under, I think it's an under 17s or 18s. Yeah. So they had a New South Wales Cup team, and they did have a women's team as well. But the women's team, I think they're trying to get it in 2025. So they're going to have like 4 teams this year. So from what I've
financially, bro, it's like obviously going across the ditch for the Warriors compared to other teams.
Yeah,
like, it's going to be a lot harder financially. But in terms of the Warriors not being able to attract the talent, the local talent, you can't sign them all. I remember.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like I remember, you can only sign maybe 5 or maybe like 6. But like if Roger got picked up by the Roosters when he was young, like that's good for rugby league. It's good for good for the game. It's good for New Zealand. Fisher Harris went to Penrith. Corey Hudaweda went to Penrith. Yeah, we missed out on them, but bro, they still excelled. They still play for the Kiwis. They still represent New Zealand. So I don't know. It's always going to be an argument. You can't sign them all. Like you can't, especially NRL clubs are always coming over. Their scouts are always watching first 15 games and always watching rugby league. So as long as they get signed, that's what my point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
As long as they get an opportunity at somewhere else or to be professional, that's what they want. Like that's what you need. Just because you don't make it at the Warriors or the Warriors miss you, you get an opportunity somewhere else. And as long as those opportunities are there for them. You wouldn't say, if you don't sign for the Warriors, you can't sign for any other club. Like,
Yeah.
So I think it's good for the game in general. And it's been like that since we can remember. And it's always going to be like that. You're not going to sign them all. They're going to do their best, the Warriors, obviously, to sign the best young talent. But sometimes Australian clubs will come in with a full-time contract. Bro, we'll put you in full-time, chuck you in the top 30, where the Warriors might offer you, we'll just offer you a SG Ball contract and we'll see how you go.
Yep.
Like, it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually perfectly well said because obviously there's always a debate whether, the Warriors do enough to keep junior talent. But you can't keep everyone, obviously. And you'd love to, develop those players and have them play for the Warriors and Warriors colours. Obviously, that's always a dream. But, some of those players, they want to decide, what's best for their careers. They want to go overseas or they want to go to Australia and play in some of the top teams. So yeah, a lot of them, they've done very well. They've got some great Kiwi players that have done very well, and the likes of your Jesse Bromwiches and that, and Jason Taumalolo, he's playing for Cowboys, and there's got a few.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, look, but you signed. I think it was after you represented the New Zealand Māoris under 18 side. You signed for the Warriors, New Zealand Warriors, on a development deal. And you were playing. I think you were playing for the Otahu Leopards in the Auckland Rugby competition. Is that right?
Nah, so that was
Or was that
Bartercard. I was playing
Bartercard?
Bartercard. Yeah. But
Right.
to play Bartercard, you had to be registered with a
Right.
local Auckland club. So
Yep.
I just signed Otahu Leopards, but I never played for them. I might have one game. I might have one game with them.
Okay. Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, but that's how that worked.
Yep. So you played in the Bartercard Cup. What was that like? How was that like?
That was an eye opener. That made me, because I was 16, 17. And when you're that young and you play against men, or you every week, and you're learning off grown men like seasoned vets, I think your development is a lot quicker because you have to learn on the run. We had Artie Clark, Willie Hitter. He's a halfback. Shout out to Willie, bro. He taught me heaps when I was young. Darren Kingy, as Paulie. These names are well known in Auckland Rugby League circles, and they taught me a lot in terms of how to build pressure, kicking game, how to read a game, what's required. And I was a young fella as well, so yeah, playing Bartercard against grown men, especially in the forwards, like physically, you had to front up every week. Because I was still quite small compared to them, and it was a great experience because we flew down to Christchurch. Every weekend we were somewhere in New Zealand, somewhere else in New Zealand.
Yep.
And during the weekdays, that's when I'd train at the Warriors. I think Bartercard training was Tuesday, Thursday. Warriors was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I had training every day. Back in 2006, 2007. It was a hard graft, to be honest. I remember thinking, like, bro, this is hard as.
Yeah.
But it was worth it. I enjoyed it, but it was hard.
Yeah. What was it actually like? Just being on that development, even though it was a development contract at the time when you were at the Warriors. What was it like? Going to the facilities. Like going to Mount Smart and you're playing the Bartercard Cup. What was that all like?
Bro, I was mad. I remember because we'd get to training and then the first grade boys would be leaving.
Yeah.
So sometimes you saw Rubes, Pricey, Mannering and that, they were leaving training and we were rocking up in our school uniforms and that. Like whenever we saw them, it was buzzy. We're like, oh, bro, there's Thing. Oh, there's Manu. Or oh, there's Jerome.
Yeah.
Like, as young kids do. But, and then you train there when they're finished. Bro, when I was young, it was exciting, obviously, put on the gears and that, and train at the facilities. Like, really grateful we got the opportunity. But yeah, I just remember we were training every day. So Monday was a hard training session after school at the Warriors. Tuesday we had St. Paul's training, and then we'd go to Bartercard training. Wednesday we would have a first 13 game after school, and then we'll have Warriors training after that. And so we had a good carpool at St. Paul's. So Manu Mao was there, Nafe Siliwini was there.
Yep.
Saliva Havili was there. Oh, bro, the Lausi brothers, the Pahlavi brothers. So we all went to St. Paul's. So we had a carpool. So it was pretty cool after school and that. So some good memories, man. Back in those times, it was a struggle. Like training was full on, but just chasing that first grade contract, chasing that one day, I might make it.
Yeah.
That was kind of keeping you going.
Yeah, that dream of wanting to play in the first grade side, especially, and it was 2008 actually, where the under 20s competition started up It was known as the Toyota Cup back then. You played. I think only missed one of your first 46 games. You also captained the Warriors under 20 side in 2010. Now 2010 that year, that Warriors under 20 side was incredible. What was it like? Playing alongside all those good players that you had in the side, and John Ackland. John Ackland. What was it like being under him? Because a lot of the players that he brought in there, it was just it was awesome. It was awesome to see, and I thought he was a great coach back then, and I thought he was destined to coach the NRL one day, but wasn't to be. But yeah, what are your thoughts here on the whole under 20s? When it came in, and what was it like captaining the under 20 side?
Bro, so yeah, 2008. I remember that.
Yeah,
because we were so excited. We finally got to play Australian players. So like
yeah,
2006, 2007, all we did was just go to development training. Like we never played. But in
yeah,
2008, we got the opportunity to play. And so we were all excited. I'd never flown out of New Zealand before in my life. I'd never been on a plane.
yeah,
And so this opportunity was I could go to Australia every second weekend, train with the full-time boys. Couldn't raise the first full-time boys, like play at Suncorp, bro, play at all the big stadiums before actual first grade play. That was a major reason why I left rugby union, because I knew this opportunity at the Warriors, the Toyota Cup was happening. Then it was a really strong competition. Like Broncos had a good team, Raiders had a good team, Dogs, and every week you were like playing against the best talent in Australia, and it really showed you like where you were.
Definitely.
And I remember Ivan would start choosing boys to make their debuts because he knew we were playing against the best young Australians. But before then,
Yep.
Ivan never chose us because we were just development players and we just trained. All we did was train. We didn't play. But as soon as we played Toyota Cup, Benny Metz made his debut, Kevin Locke made his debut, Russell Packer made his debut, Sonny Fye made his debut.
Yeah.
Because we were playing against the best Australians and holding our own too. Great memories of Tony Iro. He's been there the whole way. He brought through a lot of the players. And I'm just disappointed that him, John Ackland, they never got the opportunity to take on the first grade role. They were always overlooked for Australians, always, every time. And I could go on for a long time about this, but it's like they don't rate a New Zealand coach. They didn't rate the New Zealand coaches when Anthony Griffin at Broncos, he brought through Alex Glenn, Corey Norman, Dan Gagai, all those lot, Ben Hunt, who else is there? McCulloch, Maguire, and they gave him a first grade shot as well. Like Anthony Griffin brought them through 20s and then got the first grade head coach, took them through head coach. But at the Warriors, they didn't give Tony Iro that opportunity. They didn't give John Ackland that opportunity. And they brought through all the Warriors players that you probably know, which is a bit sad. It might have changed now, but they look at an Australian coach and be like, oh, yeah, you're a better than New Zealand coach because you come from Australia.
Yeah.
So I know that John Ackland didn't get the flowers he deserved, didn't get the opportunity that I thought he could have done easily. Tony Iro didn't get that opportunity to be the first grade coach, have a full preseason, have a full season under his control. It's disappointing, man, because if you're a young coach in New Zealand Rugby League and you want to get higher,
for sure,
you're going to have to go to Australia to get, or be a former player that's left the plane and gone to the coaching ranks. So, yeah, man, it's disappointing, but that's it. That's history.
Yeah, and in that grand final, you guys beat the South Sydney Rabbitohs there, and you scored 2 tries in that game. What do you reckon? What do you remember those 2 tries you scored? It was a 42-26 win to the Warriors there. Getting the under-20s title. What were your memories of that? Of that game and you scoring those 2 tries?
That whole year. So 2010, I was out the whole year I
Yeah.
had an ACL injury.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, bro, I was off it the whole year because I trained so hard in
Yeah.
preseason. I did my ACL before the first trial, so I missed majority of the season. And John Ackland, he actually gave me the opportunity the last like round 23, I think. I finally did my ACL rehab in like 5.5 months. Yeah, because I was off contract and I needed to play. So
Yeah.
I rehabbed as hard as I could. I rehabbed as hard as I could, man. Because I was worried, obviously, if you're not going to play, you're not going to get signed.
Yeah.
So that whole year, I just hammered the rehab and was able to come back and play the last 8 games, I think. So the memories of the grand final, yeah, big stadium, big crowd. Souths were good. They were a good team, but I think all I had to do was just push through on a kick. There were two
Yep.
kicks. I scored a try off 2 kicks, and they were just from Shawnee.
Yeah.
They were both from Shawnee, I think. And all I had to do was chase. Um, so they went. It wasn't like a step one player, dummy, step
Yeah.
another player, fend that guy off. Nah, all I had to do was just chase through on the kick and not give up on the plays. So yeah,
Yeah.
I wish I had a better story, but I don't.
Yeah, it's just think like the under 20s team, the success that they had, won a few titles, probably were one of the most dominant. I think our under 20s team was quite dominant. It sort of dropped away a little bit, and then I think Stacey Jones was came in as a coach there, and they won a title under Stacey Jones as well. But what were your favorite, like, your favorite memories of that, playing in that under 20s team? What are your teammates that you actually, enjoyed really playing with in that side?
It had to be. There's a lot, bro. It'd be
Yeah.
a lot like Nuffy Silawini,
Yeah.
because me and him were at
That's good.
St. Paul's and we'd always carpool together. And
Yeah.
so yeah, we were real close. So I enjoyed playing with Nuffy because he was really quick and he could make something happen out of nothing. Um, who else was there? Joe's Kevin Locke, man. Like, I don't
Oh,
think we got to see the best
yeah.
of Kevin Locke in first grade. Like
Yep.
some of the stuff he's done at training,
Oh,
uh,
he was
crazy.
one of my favorite players. When he was back playing
Yeah,
for
bro, he
us.
was
Yeah. I
crazy talent, crazy talent. Everything. He had everything. And he could make something out of nothing. Like he was one of those players. Rusty Bristow, like he was a gun. He had sharp feet.
Yep.
Center, I like playing with him. Moldy as, Kirk Cutter, Hearty as, Moldy as. But we're all tight. Like coming
Yeah.
through, we're all tight. So you like to go to you like to be in teams where you're really tight with the team and play. Because I've played in teams where nobody's tight, and you like don't
Yeah.
really want to have a dig for that player because you don't really hang out. But and you at the Warriors, like everyone was tight. All the boys they got along, and that's probably some of the best memories of footy because we're just young kids having fun, staying at hotels and playing at big stadiums. It was mad. It was actually mad, and we got to fly
Yeah.
every second weekend to Australia. It was so cool.
Yeah, it's just good for those younger players, just to be able to do that. It's not something you do, normally do, but when they had that competition, it was just awesome because you got to see a lot of the younger players before watching first grade. My highlight was always to watch the juniors, the under 20s, and then the first grade, and then you got the New South Wales Cup as well, which was you had all 3 games in one day, which was great. And I think another player I really was thought was unlucky was Nathaniel Roach. What are your thoughts there, Nathaniel Roach? Because he had a tough run of injuries. He had a tough run of luck with injuries, and I thought I really did rate him going through the junior system. Growing up, I actually enjoyed watching him play, and it was a shame that he didn't get enough opportunities because of an injury. So, yeah, what were your thoughts there on him?
So yeah, Nathaniel was after my time. Like he was a lot younger. I think he was
Yeah,
Tui's age, Tui and Mason's
yeah,
age. I think Tui's and Mason and Sam Lasonia's age group. So they were like 4 years younger than me.
yeah,
But in terms of injuries, like him,
yeah,
Ben Henry was a gunman. just unfortunate with injuries, and yeah, a lot of it comes down to luck, man. Because Ben Henry, bro, trained hard, always fit,
Yeah.
didn't drink, didn't go out, professional as, and just unfortunate, just like ACL on top of another ACL, I think, then a dislocated kneecap.
Yep.
So the game can be pretty cruel in terms of injuries, especially to players that don't deserve it. Like, but yeah, that's rugby league. It's a hard game. It's not everyone can play it. That's why people like watching it.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but it is a hard sport, like contact sport. It comes with the territory, especially with third man tackles coming in for the legs. Like anything can happen. Ankles get stuck under someone's body. Boom,
Yeah.
syndesmosis, 6 months.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, man, there's a lot of injuries involved.
Yeah, and you see that now with some of the young players like Tommy Travojevic and Ryan Pappenhausen, who, unfortunately they get these injuries and they're ruled out for the rest of the year, and you don't often see them on the field, and that's gutting. It's rugby league, and that sort of stuff happens. But you do feel for those players because you want to see them. They want to be on the field, but you want to see them play as well. So yes, it is what it is. It with the injuries and that can happen in rugby league. But moving on to 2011. Now 2011 was a really very interesting year in terms of the Warriors as a club because well in round 4 you actually made your long-awaited NRL debut, and that was against the Sharks coming off the bench in a 26-18 win. What were your memories of that game?
I remember I remember their forward pack, bro. Like
Yeah,
they had Gallen, Jeremy Smith, Anthony Tupou,
yeah,
Ryan Cross. No, not Ryan Cross. Tagatese. Gee, they Fafita. They had a massive forward pack. I remember, oh, and the Mena brother,
yeah,
Tim Mena, I think. I know John, one of the Mena boys. And I remember, bro, that's a massive forward pack. That's an experienced forward pack. And I remember thinking that. But I was, obviously I couldn't wait for the opportunity. So grateful for Ivan for giving me that opportunity. I trained hard in the preseason. I was supposed to make my debut back 2009 when I was 19, 18, but I did my hamstring and captain's run. Um, but man, enjoyed it. It was I always tell the players that make their debut, like you'll never feel that feeling again.
yeah,
Telling your parents, the phone calls. Oh, sorry, you'd feel it again if you made your international debut or
yep,
your Kiwis debut. But that 1 week, I always tell the young fellas, make sure you enjoy that 1 week because you're never gonna feel that again. That's the honest truth. The excitement, the family, mum's crying, dad's crying, kind of
yeah,
thing. The relief, it was more of a relief for me. Like I
yep,
finally got the opportunity and I finally did it. Um, Played with some good lads when I was obviously in that game. Jimmy Maloney, Kevin Locke, Lance O'Hire,
yeah,
Benny Matz. Yeah, it was a bit of a road trip down to Topor too. I remember we stayed the whole week down there,
yeah. Well,
did a
yep.
bit of sightseeing, and then we had a game day on Sunday, and we managed to win too. So it was mad.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, what did you have any nerves like leading into the game? Because it's your first game in the NRL, and what did you have any like nerves, or how did you feel like the week leading into your first game? Yeah,
Bro, I was excited, man. Like
yeah,
I know, like I was confident. I knew I trained
yeah,
my ass off with that. I knew I worked so hard to get to that point. I was just keen as. I wasn't really nervous. I was just keen. Because it'd been a long time coming for myself.
yeah,
And I was watching, like when I was injured, I was watching other boys my age debut. I watched Siltonga debut, Bill Tupou, they debuted, Pallavi debuted, Nuffy debuted, and they were my age. And I was like, when I was injured with my ACL, and I was like, man, I wish I wasn't injured because then I'll be playing right now. Um,
yeah,
but it's the way the rugby league works. That's how it worked out. Grateful for the opportunity as always, but it's not always smooth sailing. So a lot of people just watch the game, they watch the 80 minutes, and they'll be like, "Oh man, that looks cool. That looks like a dream job." But like behind the scenes, they don't see what goes on: injuries, prehab, um, trying to make the 13 starting team. All the boys are fighting for a jersey, but you're mates at the same time. And you're like, so there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes, man, that a lot of people don't see.
Yeah, and do you remember your first first try for the Warriors?
Oh yeah, it was a Manly. It was off Folletti. So Folletti was
Yeah,
playing half. Bro, he's a freak.
yeah,
There's one thing for any young players out there. I've noticed that all the players that have freaky ball skills with their hand, they're all from basketball backgrounds and they can all play basketball. Stephen Crichton, basketball player, like Felipe Mateo, can play basketball. Hand skill with the ball, crazy. But yeah, it was off Felipe, did a flick pass. I think we played Manly. I didn't have to do much, just fall over the lines. So that was all good.
yeah. And that game, unfortunately, we lost. Was 20, but that was Brookvale Oval. Yeah. So obviously, not the result we wanted, but you did score your first try. So I don't know if you take that as a even though we didn't win, but what just 2011, obviously that whole year for the Warriors, just going into the finals. We lost in the first week of the finals. We lost to Brisbane, down in Brisbane. But due to the old final system, the McIntyre system, we got a second chance, and we took on the Tigers in the second week of finals down there in Sydney. What are your memories? Just what are your memories of that game? That game against the West Tigers, because in that game, the Tigers had a pretty good team back then as well. So what were your memories of that game?
Um, I remember I was filthy because I was 18th man. I
Oh
remember I was
yeah,
18th man for the Broncos
yeah,
game.
yeah,
And I'd played majority of the season and then come to finals and Ivan was making me 18th man. I was filthy. So we got pumped by the Broncos. I remember that first week finals, we got
yeah,
pumped like bad. And then we got a life with the McIntyre system. We went to Tigers. I played at Sydney Football Stadium.
yeah,
Um, but I remember I was 18th man again. I remember Christian Inu got a tattoo on game day on his hand, I think on his arm. And I remember all the boys are just like, bro, what are you like? Are you serious? Are you serious? I think he got a tattoo somewhere. And I remember Ivan was fuming.
yeah,
um, but Christian came up with a winning play. Like he scored a
yeah.
try. I remember Tigers were favorites that year as well, I think.
Mm.
2011, they were favorites for the comp. And yeah, we played them. I think Shawnee cut them up that day. And then we got to play Melbourne, and we
Yeah,
had a good track record against Melbourne, and we managed to get that win. So it was a bit of a journey we all went on. Good memories, man. Craig Walks was our head trainer.
yep,
Dano was our assistant trainer as well. They had us in good shape. We didn't have many big injuries that year. I think there was only one. We had a good culture. Like there's something I like about Ivan. He accepts you for who you are.
yeah,
Like he will never tell you to change your character, kind of thing. If he didn't like you, yeah, obviously you were not gonna get picked. But like he never told me because I was quite quiet. He never told me like, oh, you need to speak more. Oh, you need to be like this player. Or you need to be like that guy. That's what I like about Ivan, and he had us really tight. Um, yeah. So it was good times, bro. Really cool.
yeah. And what leading into that grand final, what was that like? Like the feeling, for the Warriors. Obviously, that had been our second grand final appearance, but it's a different team to what the team was 2002. It was years ago. But what were the lead up to that week? Because grand final week's always massive, isn't it? There's so much going on. It's like they had the grand final breakfast. There were media commitments, press conferences. they had the footy show as well. There was so much going on in the lead up to that week. What was it like, for you?
Um, bro, I was just young, eh? I was just enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like I was just happy to be there, literally happy to be there.
Yep.
And just enjoying the moments, like family and that, brothers and that came over for it. Just having fun. Um, yeah, with the young lads and a lot of lads that you come through the grades with as well. So you were enjoying the moment with them as well. No, I was just really excited. I wasn't really nervous because you're young. You're just happy to be there. I was just happy to play. It's not
Yeah.
until you get to the older stage of your career and you're thinking, oh, about pressure, oh, this could happen in the game, oh, this could
Mm.
happen. I hope this doesn't happen. But when you're young, you're not scarred with all that mentally. You're not scarred with how games pan out. You're fit, you're young, you can work, you can play 80 minutes easy. And that stuff doesn't come into your mind. But so I
Yeah.
was young, bro. I was really naive of the outside surroundings, like how a club works, financial situations of the club, like what sales they were making, the merchandise.
Yeah.
Like none of that was in my mind. All I wanted to do is just play rugby. Yeah, it's not until you get older you feel the pressure a lot more.
Yep. So on that day it was a special day for the club, having all three teams there. We had the New South Wales Cup side, which were known as the Auckland Vulcans back then, and we had our under 20 side as well. And then obviously the first grade side, but obviously not the result we wanted on the day, but just after that grand final, you how did you feel like after the grand final? Because obviously you'd feel disappointed because you didn't win the grand final because that's something that you want to win, the premiership, and the Warriors are definitely still aiming for that quite right now. But what were your feelings after that? Because I'm sure a lot of people weren't even expecting such a run for the Warriors in that year.
Uh, I just remember I was just happy to, as I said before, bro. I was just happy to
Yeah.
turn up and show up. I was just stoked. Like after I was still buzzing,
Yep.
like bro, did you see that crowd? Like I was tripping up at that. But I looked at the older players that they
Yeah.
knew how hard it was to make a grand final. Like Lucky, Lanto Haya, Sammy Rapira, like they like took it different to us because they've been trying to make grand finals for the last 5 years. Where
Mm.
me, Shawnee, and Nobby and Kevin, bro, we were just like, oh, bro, how good's this? How easy was this to make it? Because this is our first year. We made it. We're gonna make it all the time.
Yeah.
When it really sit in, bro, you look at the older players, bro, that have tried their whole careers to get to a grand final, and how hard it was. They took it a lot different than us, but
Yeah.
yeah, we were young, bro. We were just like, that was a mad crowd. Like we were talking about those kind of things, which I look back on, it's just
Yeah.
naive, bro. Like you're young, ambitious, and you did it on your first year, so you thought it was always going to happen, which it's not the case, man.
Yeah, and after that grand final, we actually got selected for the New Zealand Kiwis Four Nations squad. And you made your international debut on the 5th of November. It was against Wales, coming off the bench in a 36 win at Wembley Stadium. What was it like being selected for the New Zealand Kiwis Four Nations squad? What was that like?
Yeah, that was humbling too, man. That was crazy. Um, I think Sean pulled out his back. The Warriors wouldn't let him go because of his back,
Yeah.
and then I got the call up. Um, bro, that was crazy. That was honestly it happened 2 weeks after the grand final. So yeah, just getting the call from Steve Kearney, that was crazy. I remember that phone call.
Yeah.
I remember telling dad, mom, my friends, they were buzzing. And like my first day in Kiwis camp, bro, I was with Khalifa, Fi Law, Bill
Oh.
Tupou. So me and Bill
Yeah.
Tupou come
Yep.
to the Warriors together as well. And we were just happy to be there, bro. We were just like, cuz we cracked it, cuz we cracked it.
Yeah.
Like every time I saw them, we always shake hands, bro. Because Khalifa came, like he was our age as well. And
Yep.
he was playing for the Cowboys. And yeah, like we met Benji for the first time. Kevin Proctor, heaps of the boys. I met Blairy. I looked up to Blairy growing up.
Yeah.
Um, Jeremy Smith. Yeah, it was mad, bro. Honestly. Um, and we go all the way back to that Maldives team, the New Zealand Maldives team under 18s. I remember shaking Jeremy Smith's hand because we
Oh,
watched them
wow.
play
Yeah.
the Australians in Wellington. We curtain raised for the Kiwis. And I told him, I was like, bro, I met you like when I was 17, 18, playing for the Maldives. And to meet him again, and I was in the same team as him, bro, it was crazy. Really grateful for the opportunity. Shout out to Mooks for giving me the call. But nah, man, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's always a play. Well, it's always an honor to play for your country. I know a lot of people talk about state of origin, how state of origin is such a high thing for a lot of players, especially playing for your state like New South Wales or Queensland. But obviously as a Kiwi, choosing to play for being able to represent your country, that's always such a high honor because you don't play in state of origin, so that's the next thing. You play yeah internationally for your country. So yeah, what are your thoughts? Because you feel like with the international game, it's not as high as in terms of your popularity in terms of state of origin. What are your thoughts on that? What is your general thoughts on the
I
whole
think
state of
there's got to be
origin?
more international. There's got to
Yeah,
be more international games,
yep,
bro. Like, um, I was watching Fisher Harris's his press conference.
yeah,
It's so true, bro. There's got to be more games
mhm,
against Australia, New Zealand, because you see the Polynesian teams. They everyone's slowly getting like to the higher levels sport. They can all compete and everything's competitive now. So we got to they got to harness that and don't let that go to waste. It's good that the NRL clubs are releasing like the Samoan boys. They've got to be acknowledged for that as well. Because there was
yep,
a time where the NRL clubs would be like, "Nah, you're not going to play for Tonga, or nah. If you're not playing for Australia, no, then we're not going to release you and play for Samoa." So it's good that the NRL clubs have jumped on board with it as well. But I think there just has to be more international games, more awareness, more coverage. I don't know how they're going to fit them in the calendar, but over here, football, they've got an international calendar and it works well. Like it works
yeah,
really well. Like break in between the Premier League season, and then all players go and play for them, represent their country, and that's where the financials that could help the local rugby leagues, build academies in Northland or build academies down in Taranaki, rugby league academies. That's where the financials are going to come from, international games. But obviously it's hard because NRL is the breadwinner for all the players. And there's no other competition that pays the same bread as the NRL, like Super League kind of, but not even close anymore.
yeah.
So they've really got to work it out because the more games they can play at an international level, the better for the game in whole. Like it's a no-brainer. It's just financials at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think it was after that tournament you announced that you'll be joining the Panthers, the Penrith Panthers there on a 4-year deal, and it was on I think it was the 7th of March, year 2013. He was signing on for Penrith, starting from 2024. Your career at the Warriors, you finished your last year with the Warriors with 8 tries and 23 matches actually. So you played 67 games, I think, yeah, from 2011 to 2013. You scored 14 tries. Now, just before getting into your signing with Penrith, what do you look back on your time at the Warriors? How do you look back at your time at the Warriors as a whole?
Looking back, bro, hindsight, obviously, I
Yep.
should have never left, bro. I should have never have left.
Yeah.
I was listening to a manager. I had a manager, and I was listening to him fully. Um, I enjoyed my time at Penrith, but in hindsight, bro, I should have never left the Warriors. And
Yeah.
I thought I always wanted to be a one club person back then when I was young, because that's the club I came through, and that's the club I as a young junior, you always want to represent. But can't change that now. But it's always got a soft spot. The Warriors, as all your debut club, it always going to be like the Warriors are always going to have a soft spot for me because they gave me that opportunity. I'm really grateful. And yeah, I suppose look back my time at the Warriors, just being grateful that I got the opportunity to play with some talented players. I got to meet some great people. I got to do a lot of traveling to Australia. Yeah, and they pretty much set me up for the rest of my career, to be fair.
Yeah, well said there. And you also played for the West Tigers. Now, just when you were at the West Tigers, what were your feelings back then? Because the Tigers themselves, they were going through a rough patch. Results weren't going there, and no, things weren't going well. What were your thoughts back your time back at the Tigers? You had a bit of a brief sort of career there. What were your thoughts there on the Tigers?
Um, it always felt there was like two clubs. Wests wanted this, Balmain wanted this.
Yep.
And that's been going on for a long time, I suppose. Um, pathways in terms of our talent pool. So
Yeah.
when you're in Sydney, you're surrounded by Parramatta's like 10 minutes down the road. Roosters are across the Anzac Bridge.
Mm.
Souths are over there as well. Manly's up the road. Cronulla's, you go a bit south, you'll be in Cronulla. So I think the talent pool for development, bringing players through, I think that's a problem for the Tigers. Yeah, because bro, it's so expensive to live around Balmain, crazy expensive. A lot of the boys that live at Tiger, they play at Tigers. A lot of them live in Penrith, or they don't live in there because it's too expensive. So you can't expect young players that are into rugby league that live in those areas to live there and then get the academy training and that. So a lot of players lived in Campbelltown and they drove in. And I think that could be a reason, the development, not developing their own talent. Uh, I think they needed more of a talent pool to choose from. Maybe have some clubs or some scouts in New Zealand to bring in some more younger talent. But that's what I thought compared to Penrith. So I left Penrith 2016, bro. The under-20s were Cleary, Fisher Harris, Yowie, Dylan Edwards, bro. The Jennings brothers, Regan Campbell Gillard, Cartwright, bro. They were all like 17, 18, and they were training full time. And bro, they were ready to play first grade. But then I got to Tigers, and like there was Alex Safer, Tommy McKaylee, and that's all I could think of. There were only two that have actually gone on. But yeah, I remember at Penrith, bro, they had the team they have now in the juniors, like the system. And compare that to the Tigers, they're nothing like that, nothing at all about the young players that are coming through that are like on the heels. And obviously, when you got good young players, they're always putting pressure on the first grade boys to perform, or they're going to come through and take your position. That's the first thing I noticed about the Tigers is the development compared to Penrith and the young players they had coming through compared to Tigers, bro. No comparison.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but Ivan was there when when you were at the Tigers. Is that right?
Yeah, Ivan
Yeah.
came for 2 years, I think the bro came,
Yep.
and then he capped it back to Penrith.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool. It was cool to work with Ivan again because he got his dismissal at Penrith, bro. That was crazy.
Yeah.
He got Daly M coach 2014. We made the semi. Penrith killed it. Then 2015 came. We had horror injuries like crazy ACLs. I did my ACL. Wallace did his ACL. We had syndesmosis. We had shoulders. Majority of our first grade starting team was out injured. Bro, Gus Gould fired him after that season. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it, bro. It was crazy, crazy. And then they brought Anthony Griffin in, and then what? 3 years later, they ring Ivan. They want Ivan to come back. What,
Yeah.
bro? Crazy, crazy.
Yeah, that was at the time. I thought, well, getting rid of Ivan was a bit odd at the time. Like, you weren't doing too badly back then, and to get rid of him, and then suddenly he's back again. That was remarkable in itself. But 2020, obviously, the Tigers let you go. They released you. And you signed with Super League side and the Salford Red Devils on a 2-year deal. What was it like moving? From Australia to the UK. How did you find the lifestyle over there? Like, because a lot of players, they tend to find it tough, and then they get a bit homesick. They want to come home. What was it like, for you to go, from New Zealand to Australia and then go to the UK? Well, did you ever think that you'd actually be going over to the UK? Like, what was it like?
Nah, like towards the back end of my Tigers at 2020, I was over. I was done with league. I was finished. I was like,
Yeah,
bro, this because we had Madge training Michael Maguire,
yeah,
bro, and I was thinking I can't keep training like this. I'm 31, bro. I'm gonna get injured, and because those trainings, bro, notoriously they're very hard, and they're so true. Like, there's no lie there. Um, and so I was off it, like, and then I was studying to become a pilot at the same time,
oh, nice.
and so, oh yeah, I was gonna leave footy and just go to the airlines once I got my tickets. That was my plan. And then COVID happened,
Yeah,
and then like no airlines were hiring. I was just like, oh, what am what am I gonna do now? And then Super League, a team from Super League, Salford, they said, oh yeah, there's an opportunity over here. And then I was like, oh yeah, sweet, I'll take it. So it was pretty last minute. I remember I signed, and like 4 days later, I was on a plane. And big difference, bro. NRL, Super League, huge difference in
yeah,
terms,
yep,
uh, oh, bro, in terms of a lot of things, like financially, uh, the marketing of the game here. Like, obviously, rugby league's tiny here. To any viewers back home, rugby league is tiny. It's an afterthought. No one even knows what it is. And the people that do know what it is get it confused with rugby union. So they think rugby league, rugby union is the same game.
yeah,
Um, yeah, rugby league is absolutely tiny and not significant here in the UK. It's all football, obviously. So there's that to contend with. Yeah, there's a lot of stories of players that come over here get homesick, but I really enjoyed it. Like, me and my family, we really enjoy it here. There's not much pressure. That's the first thing I noticed, because
yeah.
no one cares about the game here. There's no pressure, so you can play a bad game. No one cares. Like, you're not gonna get on NRL 360, or you're not gonna. Like, no one gives.
Nah,
No one cares,
yeah.
bro. There's no shows. It's not even on TV. It's not even on the paper. Where flip that over, go to Sydney, bro. You play bad,
Oh,
or you do something bad. Um, so that's why I think a lot of young halfbacks, when they come over here, Brody Croft,
yeah,
Hastings, uh, Bevan French, bro, they kill it over here. Rangi Chase, they come here and kill it because there's no pressure and they can play free. Um, and they get Daily M over here because there's no pressure to contend with.
yeah,
So yeah, it's the first thing I noticed coming over here to Super League. But
yeah.
there's
So,
some.
yep. Oh, yep. Go ahead. Yep.
You go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was saying that with Super League, there's a thing here in Australia where, a lot of people bag it out. Especially a lot of people aren't too high on it. They say it's just one of those competitions, and I feel like I actually do watch the Super League. I watch it, and I'm actually a fan of the competition. It's not NRL. NRL level is completely different, a lot higher, but I don't think it's a bad competition like people make it out to be. Um, I don't know. What are your feelings on it? Like Super League over there, it's obviously not as big. But what are you feeling on that? Because a lot of Australian players go over there and they go over there and they're back at the end of their careers. Like, they're back into their careers and they want to, obviously, they've done a lot in the NRL, but they want to go over there and try something different. But what are your thoughts on the Super League as a competition? What is it like? The quality, like, how do you feel of the quality of the Super League? Obviously, some people won't say it's as good, but how do you feel? Because it feels like it's like an attacking sort of game. More of a attacking, is it more of a attacking game over there for you, or is it more of a defensive side of the game, or how do you feel? Yeah,
It's all attack here.
yeah,
And the teams that go well, Wigan and Saints, they're all defense. Like, it's
yeah,
pretty simple. But yeah, the attacking brand of footy is cool and it's entertaining and that. But when you come up against a good defensive team, bro,
yeah,
you know, your flash plays aren't gonna work. You gotta get in that arm wrestle, especially when you play the top teams. Competition wise, bro, it's a three-horse race. It's a three-horse race here. You got the clubs with the big cash to get the best players versus a club that's living off the local sponsors shop down the road. Um, it's a three-horse race, bro. Like,
yeah,
money invested in the big clubs compared to the money to the littler clubs, it's a huge difference. Absolutely huge. There's a massive gap. Like, the last 12 years, Wigan and Saints have been in the last 12 grand finals, I think, or 8 grand finals. It's like, so the games that are, I believe, in my opinion, the games at a crossroads here,
yeah,
massive crossroads. Participation is down. COVID's hammered it at the grassroots level. Um, there's no RLPA here, which is huge,
yeah,
which is crazy. They've got games on Boxing Day here. They got games on New Year's Day here. Just friendlies, just to make some cash from the gates. Players only get 6 weeks off, no matter if you're old, young, whatever. There's no schedules. Like, in terms of schedules, we played 6 games in 2 weeks. Bro, 6 games in 2 weeks. That's crazy. Like, there's no RLPA to oversee the competition, how the money gets spent, player welfare, how much for the retirement account, how much. There's nothing here, like nothing at all, which is really sad, and it's been going on for how long can remember. Um, yeah, sometimes you're playing up against good teams, sometimes you're playing up against bad teams. Where back in the NRL, Cuzzy, you had to be on. If you turn up, you're not on, bro, you're gonna get pumped by a team. Or,
yeah,
like, just the intensity of the games.
yep,
It's just a huge difference, bro. NRL's like quick, and you got to get your
yeah,
mind for the mental battle of set for set, especially in the middle. Like, all you're thinking before NRL games, just like get in the arm wrestle, percentage, kick long, defend well, kick long, defend well, put them in the corner, defend well. Where over here, bro, it's just like, okay, we're gonna get to the post on tackle one, and then we're gonna shift, and then
yeah,
if we don't make, we're gonna shift again the other way. Like, it's cool, that works against teams that don't defend well. That works 100%. But when you come
mm,
up against a team that's sound defensively and got good line speed, bro, you're no chance. You can't go around teams. That's like that's bro. That's rugby league folklore, bro. You got to earn the right to go around teams, man. So there's a big difference compared to Super League and NRL.
yeah, yeah. Well said there. And you played also alongside some of the former Warriors teammates and then Tui Lolohea played for Salford as well, and Kristen
Yeah,
Inu as well, another
yeah,
Warrior. Yeah, what was that like? Playing with them in England in at the in the Salford side. What was it like playing with them again?
yeah. It was mad. We had
Yeah,
a good team at Salford. To be fair,
yeah,
we had Sebastian Ikehifo was there too.
yeah,
Tui, we had Callum Watkins, Lee Mossop, Kev Brown. Like, we had a really good team. It just didn't click on the field. And COVID was happening as well. So yeah, that's a whole nother episode, COVID. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, we had a really good team. It was good to see the lads. We didn't do too well that year, to be fair. But yeah, as I said before, COVID, like there were close contacts. If you're a close contact, you didn't play. If you had COVID, you're out for 4 weeks. Like, bro, we could hardly start our starting team, bro. We had the loan players from other clubs.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, bro, so sweet.
Yeah, because I remember Salford were one of those teams that always were struggling. Then they're the
Yeah,
bottom half of
yeah,
the standings. They were trying to get into remain in the Super League, but I think it was 2002. You guys played St Helens in the semi final, I think it was, and you guys went down
yeah, yeah,
19
yeah.
to 12. Actually, you're pretty competitive in that game, but you only lost 19 to 12. What are your memories of that game? Like, that was actually a
Right.
wasn't that the year that was it Jackson Hastings? Was he playing back then?
Nah, that wasn't that year. So
No, that
they
year.
they they
Yeah.
made 2019. Salford made
2019, yeah.
grand final, but bro, we were so close. Like we got some bad calls that year or that game. Some
Yeah.
really bad calls. Um, but we came up against a Saints team, an experienced team. That's the same team that beat Penrith. Um, they knew how to grind out a win. They knew how to arm wrestle. They knew how
Yeah.
to uh, they knew what it took. And yeah, defensively they were they shut us down because we played a lot of shifting shape, like passed it a lot. And defensively they worked us out that game, but it could have been different. Like there were a few calls there that were very suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't play the best game that game as well. So I'm really disappointed about that. And I was the captain of the team too that year too. So um, yeah, we could have made the grand final there too. So, but Saints, they've been winning for a long time. They knew how to win. They knew what it required. Yeah, it's disappointing to lose it.
Yeah, and then I think it was after that you joined. I think it was a championship side, wasn't it? Was it Featherston Rovers? I think that's
Yeah, Fev, I was there for a year.
yeah.
Yeah,
What was
it
what
was
was that like? What was that like playing for them?
it was all right. It was just the drive. I live in Manchester City, and I was driving out to
Oh,
Fev, bro.
yeah.
That's like, where do you live right now?
Me right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm based in the Gold Coast. Yeah,
All right,
Gold
so
Coast,
that's like
Queensland.
driving up to sunny coast
Yeah,
every day from Goldie. Yeah. So the drive was killing me, bro. It was
yeah,
what's that from Goldie to Sunny Coast? What's that? 2 hours?
yeah. Roughly around that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of like Manchester to Fev. So I was doing that 4 times a week. So we had a good team, bro. We won all our games except for the semi, which is disappointing.
yep.
Um, but yeah, it was the drive that was just killing me, bro. I couldn't keep doing it. So yeah, that was all right.
Yeah. So at the moment, what are you doing at the moment? Because are you still playing a bit of footy now, or what's
Yeah, I'm
happening?
playing
Because
League One.
yep.
I'm playing League One at Oldham now.
All right.
So we're recruited to try and their goal is to try and get the Super League. So we have to go to Championship next year, and then
Yep.
next on. So Mike Ford, he's the old English coach for rugby union.
All right. Yep.
He's a well-known rugby union coach. So he's the owner of the club, and he wants Oldham to get back to where Oldham used to be. So back in the days, Oldham used to be like Wigan. Oldham used to be like Saints back in the day, like winning competitions and that. So it's an ambitious ploy, but I'm keen for it. And Oldham's just around the corner too. Sean Long's the coach,
Yeah.
so he signed me. I had him at Featherston as well. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited. And I can do my music at the same time because we don't
Yeah.
train that often as we used to. So it's cool.
Yeah. Just on that, I noticed you do some music as well. How that come about? Is it something that it was always in your your mind that you'd be doing something like that? is it something another passion that you enjoy? How did that all come about? Starting the music and yeah.
Um, I, I'd always written poems since school.
Right. Yep.
I don't know why. I always did. Was always into music growing up. Was always at the Warriors. That's where I used to. I had a little studio in old Pap. I made it in a garage at my auntie's house.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Yeah, it was mad. It's still there, but there's heaps of boxes in there. Um, but yeah, I used to spend a lot of time out there just making music and that. But I was just too embarrassed to show anyone or to put it online.
Yeah.
Um, but through my whole career, I used to always write, like in my gym book or my, my notebook for video sessions and that. My whole career, yeah, I've always written rhymes and that. And then it wasn't until I was at Salford, and then some of the boys heard it in my car, and they was like, "Bro, you
Um.
gotta get it out. You gotta do it. You gotta do it." And they
Yeah.
just kept pestering me. They're like, Dan Sargentson is the name. He's a good center. Good center.
Yep.
And they were just hammering me. They was like, "Bro, just put it out. Put it out. Put it out." And then I was like, "Oh, bro, you know what? Who cares?" And I just did it. So yeah, and there it is. And that's how it happened.
Yeah, that's awesome because it's always good to have another passion that you enjoy doing. So yeah, that's awesome to see. I mean, I saw some of those videos you posted up on your Insta the other couple of weeks ago. I think it was you posted something, and yeah, it was great actually. I thought it was great. So loved it, really loved it.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for the feedback, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
but yeah. So just to sum up the whole just quick sum up of how your career it, your footy career and that, and well, what are the plans for the future, and what's all the plans, for the rest of the year? What's the go now, like for the rest of the couple of years? What are you thinking? What do you think of doing, or continue
So
playing a bit more footy, or
I I had the choice to go to London Broncos this year.
right?
The
Yep,
London Broncos just
yep,
made Super League,
right,
but the game over here is not in a good position. It's not in a good state.
yep,
So they're not even full time. They're a Super League team,
yep.
but a lot of players have to work as well, and they're not full. They're not. Can you understand that, bro? It's a Super League team, professional club, and they're not full time. Um, yeah, I had an opportunity to go down there and play, but I was just like, nah, bro. Like London's expensive, and every game day you have to jump on a bus 4 hours to play, and then jump back on the bus and go back to London. Bro, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't gonna do that. So I got 2 more years at Oldham, and that'd probably be, I don't know, that'd probably be me done. Body feels really good. It's if I was in NRL, I would have been retired, bro. 2021, easy. Like the way that we train in the NRL is,
Oh, yeah,
bro, that is crazy hard. Um, but over here, players play longer because training's not as hard, nowhere near as hard. Um,
yep,
actually, nowhere near as hard, and that's why players play a lot longer over here, bro. Because the physios look after you. There's not many players, so there's not much depth, so they can't flog you because they can't afford to injure you. That's something I noticed as well.
yep.
Where in NFL, bro, they'll flog you until someone gets injured, someone else comes in. Flog you to get injured, someone else comes in. There's always someone to replace you. Um, 2 more years at Oldham, and then I was going to go to the airlines back in New Zealand,
Yep.
or back in Sunny Coast. That's where we got a lot of family in Sunny Coast. So I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure yet, bro. But
Yeah.
I know I've got 2 years at Oldham, so I'm just gonna enjoy it while I can.
Yeah, yeah, and just I want to actually give you thoughts. I don't know if you've been following a lot of the NRL last year. I don't know if you've been following a lot of the boys Warriors how we've been going last year. What have you been able to tune into a lot of the NRL games or the Warriors games and seen what they've done?
I watched, bro. I stopped watching footy a long time ago, but
Right.
I
Yeah.
watched highlights. I watched the highlights.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I do watch a game, I watch the highlights. And yeah, bro, it's good to see the Warriors go really well last year. The brand of footy they were playing, was awesome. So I had Webby at
Right.
Tigers
Yeah. Yep.
for 3 years. It's so good to see him go well, man. He's done his apprenticeship. He's uh, he's been in the game a long time. He deserves that opportunity at the Warriors. But he's definitely did his apprenticeship underneath Madge, because I remember, bro, Madge had him working on the cutting up the clips.
Yeah.
Bro, some long hours. I used to feel sorry for him and Craig Sandercock, because bro, they were always in there cutting up video. And he's gone from one extreme, Madge, like really intense, full on, like everything, to underneath Ivan, where Ivan's a lot more chill,
Yeah.
like a lot more like easygoing, like he's not intense as Madge. So, obviously he's found the middle, and then he's used that at the Warriors, bro, and it's working well. So yeah, congratulations to Webby, bro. Well deserved opportunity that he's got, and it's good to see him go well. I think everyone's going to be after the Warriors this year. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be a hard game for when they go to Mount Smart. Um, but yeah, just so good to see Webby get his opportunity that he really deserves, because he's done his apprenticeship, man. He's done a long apprenticeship, and it's good to see, especially at the Warriors, that he gets his opportunity.
Yeah, because he came in as a rookie, coach, he's last year, and what he achieved with with us and was incredible, because I think a lot of people, even fans weren't expecting such a rise to what it was last year. It was so close, to getting into a grand final in his first year. And he got those players to play in their best career form, like Sean Johnson, which you have played a lot with, Sean Johnson. His year last year, very close to winning that Dally M, very close. Just unfortunate to miss out there over Caleb Ponga. But what were your thoughts there, on Shawnee? Because his form, there's so many people, there was a lot of doubts around people saying that maybe, this wasn't Sean we'll see in a while, and he turned it around. He was very confident. He was playing with a lot of energy. Obviously he had his family. Being back in New Zealand was a huge plus in itself. Because the boys are tougher in a number of years, being away from family and friends, and having to base themselves around Australia. Just what were your thoughts there? Just seeing the Warriors, themselves have those couple of years, basing themselves in Australia, because that was very tough. And then Shawnee, his form.
Yeah, man. I'd have to put that down to Webby. Whatever
Yeah,
culture he's implemented at the Warriors, whatever culture, because the head coach, he controls it, man. He controls who's there,
yeah,
who's not. He controls the training sessions, the tempo, the mood, the intensity. So there's got to be a lot of credit given to Webby, and he deserves his Dally M coach, because it's not an easy feat. Going to the Warriors and you have to travel a lot. That means your recovery has to be good. That means your days off have to be on point. That means there's so many logistics that go into it. You lose 2 days to travel compared to a Sydney club.
yeah,
So you gotta juggle your S&Cs, your training load, your recovery times. Like, so he fully deserves the credit for the Daily M. But I can only put it down to Webby giving Shawnee the environment to thrive. Like, so Webby's created something, or created a belief in the culture and the team, that's allowed Shorty to play his best footy, which is so awesome to see, and it's so great to see, because we all know what he's capable of. But yeah, congratulations to, I believe, down to Webster, the coaches he's brought in, the environment he's set, the standards he's set, the senior players that he's chosen, the leadership group. Like, there's so many different cogs in it that have led to performances like that every weekend consistently through the NRL season. It was unfortunate that Sean didn't get the Daily M, bro, because
yeah.
surely he played really well that season. But yeah, I just hope they can back it up this year, because it'll be tough.
Yeah,
It's going to be tough
definitely.
for them to
Yep.
back it up this year. Yeah, and getting all those logistics again, do it again, and they didn't have any big injuries. I can't remember. So obviously their S&C's doing something really good if you're not getting big injuries. So the task of being a Warriors coach is, so I think at the Warriors, because you have to travel so many times, your planning your schedule is so different compared to an Australian NRL coach, because yeah, you got to account for travel days, recovery days, video sessions. Like there's so much more you need to do.
Yeah, definitely. And the team itself, it was just such a ride. We came one win away from the grand final, and just to make the top four as well, which I would be saying that was obviously a shock in itself. Just to get himself in the top four, and then they haven't lost too many players in the off season. We're going into the off season now, and going into March. Webby's, the mindset of Webby when he speaks is just incredible in itself, because he's like, no, that's not good enough. We need to be a lot better. You know, which is great, because it puts that mindset into the team, the players, that that's just not good enough, and we want to do better. And I think the owners, the CEO, everyone involved, there, I feel like they're going to take the club to a positive, direction moving forward. I feel like this is, going to be a positive step moving forward. But yeah, anything we'd like to add on to that? Because that's just what I personally think.
Um, no, not really, because yeah,
Yeah,
he's done a great job. In the only 1 year that he's been a full time coach. I'm sure he learned a lot under Ivan at Penrith, and how they operated, and
yep,
how their standards and their culture was. So Webby left Tigers the same time I left Tigers. So I went to Salford, he went to Penrith. So he must have learned so much from the Penrith culture, um, leadership groups, training regimes, how Ivan operates, and yeah, he would have taken the good parts of that and then taken it to the Warriors, which is awesome, bro. And that's what you see in the development of coach. And as I said before, like, he's done his apprenticeship, man. Like, he
yeah,
did some long hours under Madge. Like Madge's intensity, bro. Like every day is like full on. So I know he would have taken a little bit from that, but he probably would have took more from Ivan and the success they've had at Penrith.
yep, awesome. Yeah, so yeah, just again, I'd just like to thank you for coming on. It's been a joy to have a chat review in regards to your footy career. Thanks for giving up your time. Really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, look, all the best with the rest of whatever you're doing next. And yeah, we'll be following your journey.
Cheers, bro. No worries, man. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome, no worries, everyone. So yeah, look, just like to thank Elijah Taylor for coming on. You'll be able to watch this. Should be able to see this on a Friday. The video should be up on YouTube. We'll edit that and put it up. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you don't forget as well. You got to like the like the video. Sorry, it's not live. Like the video. Keep doing that because I keep thinking I'm live. Like the video. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Warriors NRL Fanatics as well. And hopefully plenty more of these chats coming up soon. But cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. Have a good rest of the
Cheers, bro. Thank
day.
you.
Cheers.